Good Tuesday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now. The severe weather alert are tracking and everybody here moving across parts of northeast, north central Florida right now. It seems getting some reports here as we get further back toward the west. Now, we weren't getting those in earlier on, so we weren't sure this was actually occurring down toward the surface there as we were getting towards some of these spots. But now, as I look at our mapping here, we did get our first storm report there because it seems trees and power lines were knocked down there as we get further back off toward the west. That sounds like that was mainly about 2 miles north of Live Oak there on 555. We were posting about the warnings there on Facebook and on Twitter, but now seeing the warning action continue to expand here, and because of the situation here where that verification did occur, we wanted to jump in right now. This also includes a little bit of Bradford County, even with a threat. So let's just go ahead and kind of dive into what's happening. First off, I know we've had the warmer temperatures today. We haven't been seeing these wind numbers get too high on our anemometer stations, though, but in between, we've seen some of these winds get a little bit stronger, causing some problems. So, real quick here, let's say those temperatures that we have, because I have the winds up. We're watching the warnings here, portions of Columbia under a warning to 6:45, and in Baker, Bradford, and Union till 7. But in terms of the winds, you saw those affecting some areas a little bit high, but nothing like the temperatures in terms of those affecting everybody pretty much, unless you're getting under a cooling downpour here. So you can see most of the areas staying pretty dry right now. 97 in Tallahassee, 97 at Jackson International Airport. We got to 95 as I was looking at my thermometer a little while ago. They got to 100 at St. Simons Island today. Those heat index values coming into play to make things feel even warmer. You can tell over 100 by far here. Some spots closer to 110, if not even at that here on those heat index numbers. So really, you combine that heat with the humidity, and then that really causes problems here, makes things a little more dangerous to be outside at times. But the cooling downpour is going to help some, but now you have to worry about the lightning potential. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Let's go ahead and jump back on over to our analyst computer. We'll go ahead and go back on over to our other source to kind of see what's going on here with our severe thunderstorm warning action. We just got a gust now, looks like. So Lake City Airport just got a gust of 50 as they're letting that warning go at 6:45. But that was just some verification there just now then. So that really jumped on us, meaning we are getting the strongest one we've gotten measured here today by far. That action there right around Lulu right now. So this could even get a little bit closer to Lake Butler. And let's just kind of track that northern edge though. I know they're expiring now, warning out now, but so maybe right in here actually, if you can see my mouse there, we're gonna go just around north side of 100. And then if that holds together, we'll see how far this holds together. With the heat of the day, we could see a little bit more that's holding together. We just didn't know this stuff could build as high. But once it builds high, it's able to maintain itself to some degree here. I know yesterday we had a full risk of severe weather, believe it or not, in Georgia and around Tallahassee. We didn't see anything really come together up that way. We just not really see anything come together in terms of the accent. Kind of crazy to see here. It's just kind of remarkable how weather can be sometimes. And today, no formal rescue. Now we have this area of storms. I mean, we're in that summertime pattern to some degree, but we have a situation right now with a current severe thunderstorm warning. They're continuing to see a new core developing, propagating eastward here. It looks like just south of I-10 along the Baker County, Union County border with 60 dBz up to 30,000 feet just southwest of Sanderson. So again, that's kind of the storyline there right now. Just never know what's happening. Just never know what's going to happen exactly here. I know it looks like we're getting a pretty nasty looking hail signature on this radar. Let's see what our other radar is showing. Yeah, it's picking up on it too to some degree. So let's go ahead and jump on over there. We'll go ahead and jump on over there. Right now, you can see our logo is blue here in terms of not having a major severe weather, a major situation here in terms of heat warnings, excessive heat warnings, where I'm going with that. But we'll just continue to keep our eyes on things here in the Weather Center. We're definitely watching things to keep you guys safe, keep you guys informed. That's what it's all about here at Cloud Weather, keep you guys safe, keep you guys informed here in the Weather Center. Just continue to track the latest information right now here to make sure you guys know exactly what is happening. We're just checking all of our different computers. 51 mile an hour gust now was the official report from 6:35 1 mile east southeast of Watertown. So that's interesting to hear about. So probably gonna have some more issues in Columbia now. That threat there is problems with the spread on in there toward parts of Baker, Union, and even Bradford counties now. So gotta be kind of mindful here to see how this holds together. We were kind of thinking this stuff might not be reaching them necessarily here, and that's why I know they had the warning. They were kind of letting them go here. I know for a while didn't even have a warning toward Columbia County. Just didn't look like it would be strong enough. But then seeing some accident become a little more organized here, so that's more of an issue for folks. We're gonna go ahead. You can see the instability values out. I mean, some of these areas. I mean, if you look out back toward Tallahassee. I mean, getting over 5,000 joules per kilogram, but toward the eastern 3,000, 4,000 joules, which is a lot of energy for storms to work with. And according to PowerOutlet.us, we have 420 customers in the dark in Columbia County, 549 in terms of customers out in Swanee County, 305 out in Hamilton County, but in Madison County, where the accident first originated at, only 8 customers in the dark there. So that's at least a little bit of good news in that maybe it wasn't as strong back out there in the Tallahassee jurisdiction, or if it was, maybe I already seen the power outage numbers kind of change on us here a little bit quicker. As we go ahead and look at the last 12 hours in terms of rainfall, I don't see anything with McCulloch County, but there actually are some outages there as well. About 728 customers in the dark, so it's possible because of the heat here. I'm just speculating at this point that the heat could have caused an issue here, an issue in terms of maybe something kind of tripping there, knocking power out for a little bit. As they've now just enhanced this warning a little bit because of hail potential toward the Baker, Bradford, Union areas here till 7 o'clock. They're now seeing hail could be up to 1.5 inches in diameter. So it's the first time we've had more than just the base type of warning information by the Weather Service offices today. So instead of just an inch size hail, maybe 1.5 inches in diameter now for the hail. So they're saying that the current warning, based on the DBZ value south of Sanderson, the storm could produce ping pong ball size hail at the maximum here. So this is starting to become a little more problematic based on some different indications. Yeah, you can really see that on an analyst computer. So let's jump back on over there right now. We'll jump back to the analyst computer, and you can see what we're talking about here. You can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about with our analyst software. And this is off the Moody. I think it's time because this storm's been moving. I mean, it's not really quick, but tweets at 25. It's now time to switch over to the Jacksonville radar for sure. Now we're following the story as it was further back toward the west here, but now moving off toward the east. So we need to go ahead and switch radars here to give you guys the latest to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. This is ramping up a little bit more than maybe anticipated here. So based on hail maybe being indicated to 1.5 inches, you can see that's the latest scan. It says 2 inches. This overdoes it some though, so keep that in mind. And this is even showing a hail signature here southeast of Lusty. So that's kind of a storyline there right now. Southwest of Sanderson. You see a little boundary out ahead though. Let's keep an eye on that because sometimes that can be a sign that this will kind of change strength on us here pretty quickly. So that's something to kind of keep our eyes on. You see that window? That's looking like we're gonna need another warning here in about 10 minutes if that continues. That's one of the strongest pixels I've seen all day here. And the worst of this is headed there, maybe in the southern Baker County, State Road 121, and then you see around Highland there, around Highland, maybe in northern Bradford County, and then ultimately this could be a threat here toward Blandon Boulevard, in Orange Park, Middleburg area there. So just have to keep our eyes on things. If this were to hold together that far, that's your 1 hour track. I mean, eventually, once the sun goes down, I don't know if we really see this holding together much longer than that. Hopefully, even by then it'll start to decay, and that'd be good news. But you see 2 hour track here and then a 3 hour track that gets it there off the coast. So again, I'll have to watch this very carefully. This rogue area. Again, there's no formal risk today, but in the summertime, we all know the story. It doesn't take a formal risk to have problems. Yesterday we had one. We ended up not getting any warnings here, but you just never know what can happen here in terms of these storms here this time of year. They can be very renegade in nature, per se. You just have to really be cognizant of what's going on. It's definitely showing some strong wind, though. That's a pretty rural area out here. Looks really rural, but we're talking about wind 67 miles an hour at a pretty low height on the radar. This could be a pretty nasty storm in terms of some damage. It's looking like it's about the strongest. So I'll bet it's up more, but so far to me, just on these initial scans in Jacksonville, even it looks like it's about as strong as it's been all day here. So you really need to be kind of careful with this. I mean, you see some areas there that were pretty strong for a scan or two. 60-mile-an-hour wind, give or take there, back off toward the west. But now we're seeing that area of light blue. That's indicative of winds closer to 70 even, where my mouse is southeast and east-southeast of Olustee there, southwest of Sanderson. So again, this is a pretty nasty storm situation that we're following right now here in the Weather Center. Pretty rural area, thankfully, but I know we're in Stark and Bradford County. At this point, we're expecting the worst to go north of us, but we could still get some downpour action and maybe some lightning here right around Stark. But the worst of this, at this moment anyway, looks to go to the north of Stark. Probably won't get a warning for most of Stark. Maybe a little bit of Stark gets a warning when they expand this out. We'll see. But the worst of this probably go north of downtown Stark here at this point. But again, a renegade storm here on this Tuesday evening. It's June 27, 2023. So things can always change here, so stay tuned for the latest. But right now it's dark. It's looking like the worst is going to go north of town here. But getting this heat energy to really get this storm action going here and just a renegade fasten. So again, looking right now, you can see as I'm checking some information behind the scenes right now, just trying to give you guys the very latest here. It's a one-man band. I hear some thunder for the first time now here east of Stark. We're looking at some of our data here, nearly 5,000 customers in the dark in Florida, but a lot of those aren't in our area necessarily, but we have 305 customers out in Hamilton, 549 in Swanee, 420 in Columbia. And that kind of tells the story. Aiden Madison, and then even McCullough didn't have a storm earlier, really, but 728 customers in the dark maybe because of just the nastier conditions here in terms of the heat. Okay, they're going to go with a new warning now. They're telling us here in the chat session, and this is going to get us into Duval and Clay counties now. They're going to go to 70-mile-an-hour winds. This is going to be a considerable threat. We don't get these very often for Duval County. So, new severe thunderstorm warning now, including wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour as the storm continued east and along and south of I-10 towards Highway 301 into western Duval County, western Clay County. So again, we're going to go to 70-mile-an-hour wind, and they're going to stay at the ping-pong ball-sized hail type of threat. So this is a more considerable danger now as we're getting into more parts of the viewing area here. I know there's heat energy out ahead. You can see the latest updates coming on in. 93 last scan at Cecil Field, 97 in the Naval Air Station. And this accident is going to be taking advantage still of all that heat that built up during the day now. And it could get that wind down to the surface. This is a considerable danger now. So not just talking about Clay and Duval, but also a little bit of Union, Bradford, and Baker under this warning here until 7:30. So this is a more escalated type of warning now than we're used to dealing with in our area this time of year. This is definitely something we got to stick with here to keep you, your friends, and your family safe and informed. And it did include Stark. I do think the worst would go north of town, though, just so you know. But don't go outside right now. There's lightning around. And we could still get some gusty winds, but the worst of this to go north of town. Again, a considerable threat, though, now. This is something we don't get around here very much. What I mean by that, where other systems going to show you, because it turns the polygon orange, because this is a more significant threat now than we're used to dealing with here, because the dangers are escalated a little bit. So let me read you the text of this warning. At 6:55, the National Weather Service in Jacksonville has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Bradford, southeastern Baker, northeastern Union, Clay County, and southwestern Duval County, and northeastern Florida until 7:30. At 6:54, a severe thunderstorm is located 7 miles northeast of Rayford. The worst of this, moving east at 30 miles an hour. People and animals outdoors could be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs in some cases. Same with siding, windows, and vehicles. Not a guarantee here, and it wouldn't be widespread, but maybe sporadic areas could see that same with sporadic wind damage to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. So areas like Orange Park, Green Cove Springs, Stark on the edge of this, Rayford, Middleburg, Maxville, Fleming Island, Oakley Plantation, the Bel Air Meadowbrook Terrace, and Camp Landon. So again, a more considerable, more escalated level of threat now for areas, especially just north of Stark here. I say that and you think of Laurie, but I mean, they're almost on the edge of this too, but Lordy, a little more concerned. I'd start taking my severe thunderstorm precautions around Lordy because you're definitely in that margin for error there around Lordy. Stark, we're kind of right on the edge of this. Maybe it expands to the south. Right now, I mean, it's going to be a nasty area of thunderstorm action here. You don't want to be outside, obviously, but other than that, I'm not terribly concerned yet here around Stark. It does seem like our high-res radar kind of tells the storyline a little bit better. So let's go ahead and jump back on over here. You can kind of see what we're talking about. I mean, this is your summertime stuff, but it's a little bit more potent than we generally see. So let's look here. Let's look here at our scans. We're going to see this track on in there. Track on in northern Bradford a little bit here. Over the next little bit, you can see this is where some of the worst of this is right now. With this warning input of 7:30. Again, I'm just checking some more information behind the scenes right now to keep you guys safe and informed as we're not talking about a more considerable severe thunderstorm threat across areas of northern Florida. So you see areas there, just north side of Lordy maybe. We're tracking this. It's going to cross over 301 the worst of this here. Let's do a timer on this. Let's see. So that's about a little less than 30 minutes away. I think this might move a little bit faster. This seems like, I mean, overall it could be. So let's plan ahead a little bit quicker than what this is showing. Then, I mean, that's 30 minutes right there. So I would go more in the order of, let's say, about 7:15. It'd be crossing over 301 here. So this timing is a little bit slow, but again, that's what the warning has in it. But this is something to watch. The track seems on par here. But we're tracking some of the worst of this here. You see Hugh, Highland, north side of Lordy here. Again, that's where we could have winds, maybe the high 70 miles an hour. Not under the question. These look a little weaker in the latest scan, but still to severe limits, no doubt, here in this area. So again, sticking with it right now because it's a potent summertime storm action here across our area. So again, you see instead of the yellow box now, which is a level 1 out of 3 really in terms of severe thunderstorm warnings. That's what you normally get this time of year. We're now to a level 2 out of 3 severe thunderstorm warning, a considerable threat. Now, I don't think it's going to happen here in this event, but if we were to go to the next level, your phone would go off as if it was a tornado warning. It'll say severe thunderstorm warning, destructive storm, but because we either had 80-mile-an-hour wind or we had hail more like on the order of 2.75 inches in diameter. Don't think we're going to have either of those here in this scenario, but we'll watch it just to make sure here. We'll just continue to track things. I'm trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family here on this Tuesday night. We're just trying to check all of our different metrics here because it's a one-man band. So that other warning to the west, it just went away for now. But we'll continue to watch things because it's kind of a tricky situation here because some of that worst is still just back to the west. This is your latest scan with that. I mean, so they might always have to do a small one back to the west. This seems like it's running a little bit slow, the storminess here on that view. I know it looks fast on the other, but it's just, it seems like it's something in between that to be a little bit more making sense here in this type of scenario. So again, okay, that hail is getting really big there on the Union County line now. Our latest scan, I mean, we're looking at different computers here. So in either one here, it's showing over 2 inches. Our other system now, which overdoes it some, is showing over 3-inch size hail. I don't know if that's actually happening. I mean, even the 2-inch, but I mean, the 3-inch seems kind of unlikely here at this point for sure, but we have to just continue to watch things here. I'm trying to give you guys the update here the best I can. This is now, our computer at least is showing some very big hail that's headed toward even northern parts of Bradford County here, folks. We do not see this very often around here. Not Stark, not with the large hail, but we're talking about areas here as we get there in northern Bradford County, maybe the worst of this between Highland and Lordy along 301. You don't want to be driving right now north of Lordy on 301 at this point, I would say, at least for the next half hour. Don't drive from Lordy north on 301 for the next half hour because there's a chance you could get into some really nasty weather here. It's not an all-night thing. It's just a renegade accent, but For the next half hour, Laurie northward, you do not want to be driving here along 301. It would be in your best interest because you could start to have some damage to your vehicle. They've upgraded this morning now for the hail size to be considerable to 1.75 inches in diameter now with the threat. So this is continuing to grow, becoming more and more significant here as it moves into parts of northern Bradford County. Again, this is not a tornado situation right now. I'll check that to make sure. There's really not much. There's a little bit of weak rotation, but that's not what the threat's for right now. As I put our storm motion on, we're not seeing much rotation with this. But the winds and then the hail threat, which we don't see very often around here, the hail threat again could be upward of 1.75 inches in diameter. I know our computer algorithm says 3, but 1.75 inches is enough to do some damage with some stronger wind in there. So if you're planning to go out right now outside and get on the road, I urge you not to be driving north of Laurie there on 301. I mean, there's other roads you don't want to drive on either, obviously, because if your vehicle there could suffer hail damage on those. It's not just about 301, it's that geographic region is what I mean by that. But again, considerable damage here could happen now. This is not a formal type of outlook risk here today, but this can happen sometimes in summer, more with the wind and the hail. The hail threat's a little more of an anomaly here today with this rogue storm getting going, this rogue area of convection. So again, I gotta be really careful right now. Even seeing a renegade strike here popping up on 301 north of Stark. That's why you don't want to be outside right now around Stark. I'm not saying you can't be in your car right now around Stark to Laurie. I mean, if you can avoid it, you'll be in some heavy downpours. You probably not want to be out if you can help it. But we're not talking about the damaging weather as much here toward the south. But toward the north is a different story. Moving toward the Highland Laurie area, that algorithm went down a little bit. But our other algorithm here seems like it's still staying upward. In terms of its overall scenario that it's depicting. Again, it's still 2-inch hail here in northern Union County. This is just north of Rayford here for perspective. Just north of Rayford, that's about to be over there. It looks like I'm looking at a street level map and right around State Road 121 there. So this is some pretty significant hail here, folks. It could be crossing over State Road 121. Maybe it didn't hold together all the way to 301, but 121 is going to produce some hail, whether it's severe or destructive type or considerable damage producing type of hail. We're not sure, but Goffball size of the warning is for now. But this type of hail here, I mean, it would definitely mean that we're getting some hail to the surface for sure along State Road 121 over the next maybe 1 to 2 minutes if it's not already starting to. Our radar's running behind, so I think it's probably already starting to happen now. Okay, I mean, latest scan just came in, so let's go ahead and see. It's weakened just a little bit, not by much, don't get me wrong. But you can see here, talking about this purple on our map here at 62.5 dBz. The last one was closer to 70 almost. So that's a little bit of weakening in terms of hail size, but still definitely going to have some hail at least, whether it's severe hail or what exactly it is. I'm not going to be 100% sure, but at least some hail is going to be over, say, with 121 here. Probably already starting to see that process happen now where it's starting to fall from the sky. You don't want to be outside, obviously, or out and about in that situation in northeastern Union County. So, again, that's where we're at right now, northeastern Union County, with this storminess here, this rogue action really getting going here at this hour. So, let me go ahead and zoom back out a little bit here. I want to see what else we might have. I know our camera's kind of pointing more toward the south, but it probably still catch some of this here. Let me go ahead and pull that up at this point, I think, in the coverage. It's not pointing the exact direction, but I'm sure it's going to depict a dark picture. It might be almost a little overly dark out there at this point based on what I'm seeing here in some of my views from the weather center. So let's pop this up. Okay, it's not overly dark, but it's definitely a situation here where things are deteriorated some, but it seems like it's actually picking up a little bit higher aperture than I thought it would in terms of some of this. But you can definitely make out the clouds here. So again, we're just going to have to continue to watch things pretty nasty out there on this Tuesday evening. So again, we're watching things. I hear the thunder now a little bit in the background. The works is going to miss Stark. We're still under the warning. Don't go outside, obviously. thunder roaring, and you have a warning in play. Don't go outside here, at least for the next, probably, I mean, a warning goes for 30 minutes, but probably at least for the next 45 minutes here around dark. I mean, of course, you're really more concerned about areas toward the north, as we've talked about. But this camera's putting a little bit more. It's west, but it's pointing a little bit of a southerly component with it in terms of our directional tilt. So just so you guys know, we're probably not seeing the absolute worst of this right now, but we'll just continue to watch things here in the weather center. Let's go back to other view right now, other warning system and radar system. Still showing over 200 tail on this mode, but I think that's going to start coming down. I don't guarantee that here. That's why you can't take this lightly. I mean, we have temperature 97 degrees outdoor at Naval Air Station in Jacksonville, so can't take this lightly here as we're watching things, as we're watching this scenario evolve. I mean, something that's really catching my eye here. Let's go back to analyst here, if we can. Let me switch on the analyst computer. So there's our hail on the correlation coefficient. You can use this to detect tornadoes, but now instead we're in a situation here where we're using this to detect hail because it's not going to show up the same as rain, just like tornadic debris, which show up different here in this product when that's being lofted. Well, when hail's falling, it's going to be different, and rain is not uniform. You can use this in winter weather as well. But this right here would indicate hail here in this area that's north of Rayford here. And that area, I'll go ahead and put a track on it. That is headed in this general direction here toward northern parts of Bradford County. I know they're also telling us they're getting concerned about some wind. Yeah, that wind is really whipping there in southern Baker County right now. The Jacksonville radar detecting inbound winds up to 60 knots in extreme southeastern Baker County, 5 to 10 miles south of McClenny, approaching Maxville in the next 10 to 20 minutes. So some of this headed toward Maxville here pretty soon. So got to be careful here. That's some, wow, wicked winds over 70 miles an hour showing up. And that wind here could be headed across 301 between Highland and Hugh in short order. And then that could eventually get into some really highly populated areas in Clay County and do a lot of damage if we're not careful. These storms are still at some of the strongest this action is. They've been really all day. So, again, they got to be really careful here. Stuff's really ramped up. We had some damage reports out of Suwannee County. It was a little after the fact, so we weren't sure if these storms would actually reach them, but they're definitely a threat now. This storm action really was able to get into an environment that really had those temperatures build up today, and now it's able to maintain itself and not even strengthen a pretty good bit here over the last little bit. The latest scans maybe weakening some, but it's more about strengthening than weakening right now, still with the overall convection. So let's go ahead and go back on over to other view here. Now let me go ahead and go back on over to other view. Our hail size on this, our more conservative product here is now showing to about 1.34 inches in diameter. That seems more in line here with what we've been seeing. You see earlier out toward the west, for the most part, I mean, this goes back here 1 hour. So let me go back a little bit further with this. I know it's going to jump around a little, but you can see we didn't have as much in terms of the updraft per se out toward Live Oak. The worst of this wasn't showing up as well. I mean, you had the occasional area of inside here northwest of Lake City, but we're not really getting that much. But now you see how I just explained that purple was indicating over 2-inch hail in northern Union County. So again, we're in Bradford County. We're talking about Union County there, but moving into more parts of Bradford here at this point in time. So again, a nasty situation here on this Tuesday evening. Let's go ahead and go to our coverage map here. You can see here what we're talking about. We're talking about a situation where we're in Bradford Union. Some of this, but the warning action includes parts of Baker, Bradford, Clay, Duval, and Union to about 7:30. So let's go ahead and jump back on over here to other mode. This is our hail tracker. You can see here looking north of Rayford here. Hail over an inch in diameter, still a possibility. And let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. Again, we'll go ahead and go to our other mode 2 now, I think, our analyst computer. You'll be able to kind of see that we have these warm temperatures out ahead. Still, I mean, just a nasty, wow, that is really impressive and not in a good way. That is a pretty wide area now, winds that could be close to 70 miles an hour south of McClenny. So, I mean, we're almost in a situation with this much wind. If we start getting this over a highly populated area here, which it would be over in northern Clay County. It might be a situation where, I mean, we even have some cameras up to think about trying to get angles up on the screen for in Clay, because there's some there on some of those roads now, pretty new roadways there in Clay County, just with some views there available. We're talking about a situation I might start seeing some power flashes. I know you associate that with a tornado sometimes, but in this situation right here, I mean, we definitely had that potential with this much widespread wind action. We don't see this very often around here. I mean, this is a pretty rural area right now. I mean, there's a few people out here, obviously, in southern Baker, but we rarely get that close to the radar in the Jacksonville jurisdiction. We're now seeing gusts on radar, at least, at a pretty low level to 74 miles an hour, which is just on the edge of Category 1 hurricane force. So, again, a nasty situation here right now with these winds. Again, the winds and the hail aren't in the exact same spot here. I mean, with the worst, I mean, there's some overlap, obviously, but you can see here, this is going to go north of Hugh, the latest assessments at the worst, but some of this will still go here, even on the south side. I mean, you almost have to think of this as a cone of concern. I can't leave all these tracks up at the same time, but from this track here to about, let me even put this even further down to be safe here. So all the way from Highland there, up through areas there closer towards Cecil. That's where we're going to have that corridor of wind here coming down to the surface. This is a situation right now, in case this holds together here, I would start turning my devices up there if I'm between, I mean, let's just do a track on this before I give exact locations. But yeah, Middleburg to about Orange Park there. I mean, maybe right into the Duval County line area. I'd be charging my devices right now in case I lost power, just in case. Not everybody's going to lose power, but it could be a little bit more complex if we get this wind core to hold together. Hopefully it doesn't. We don't generally see stuff like this hold together around here. We also don't generally see temperatures this warm, so there's a lot of fuel to work with here. The models, again, are kind of struggling on us. They did have some convection, but not quite to this level of severity here. Yesterday, we had the threat of severe weather. Didn't see that happen, so there's some discrepancies lately here within the models that are needing to be worked out. But again, let's go ahead and go back on over here. I mean, models are just that, models. They depict what can happen, not what will happen. But being told here in the chat now, there is some damage in Columbia County. And remember, these storms are now maybe about the strongest in terms of wind producers. This axon is, anyway, that the axon's really ever been at in terms of the wind threat. So, again, report though, tree and power line downed 1 mile south of Watertown in Columbia County, according to the 911 call center. So again, a nasty situation here right now. You can see this is south of McClenny, though. We're seeing winds of 72 miles an hour. Again, I'm going to go ahead and keep checking some things here. I want to see here, folks, in terms of power outages. You can hear our system's working very rapidly to get you that latest information right now here in the weather center. But Baker County, only 21 customers out on the last check. That's going to go up, no doubt. It's a signature like this on radar. So that latest scan there, not quite as widespread, but still a pretty nasty core. These winds moving right toward areas there on 301 around Hugh there in northwestern Clay County. So this is some pretty nasty stuff moving toward areas in northwestern Clay County. Trying to give you guys the latest information here, sticking with it to provide you guys the details. We're getting more reports out of Columbia County now. And again, the storms weren't as strong. The axon wasn't as strong. The Renegade axon wasn't as strong as it was now back there on radar. But 601, 3 miles southeast of Wellborn, a power line on a tree was down because of the thunderstorm winds. So, again, it's a nasty situation here altogether. Trying to give you guys the very latest to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family here on this Tuesday evening, on this June 27th, 2023. We're live here in the Weather Center to give you guys the very latest here on what's happening. So let's see here. I'm just checking some of my different sources of information here so you guys know what's happening, because that's what it's all about here at Cloud Weather. Keep you guys safe on what's happening here in these type of scenarios. We don't want you guys messing around here. We don't want you guys getting caught off guard here. As we're live right now on Facebook, or live right now on Twitter, we're live on YouTube and we're live on Twitch. So again, YouTube at Cloud Weather is that page, that handle. You can search for that if you prefer that method. You can search for that there on YouTube by putting in meteorologist Casey Cloud. Hit that subscribe button there. Even hit that bell icon if you'd like. You'd be able to get a little bit easier way of notification in terms of our coverage. But again, watching the situation right now, these areas here of a light blue to white here, indicative of winds. They're 60 to 70 miles an hour here. I know it's a pretty raw area, but it's not going to be a pretty raw area pretty soon. If this holds together that this is in. I mean, crossing 301 there in northwestern Clay County, and a hail threat here. I know it's become a little bit more hard to pick out, which is a good thing with the hail threat at least. The wind threat not so much. The wind threat's still very well defined, but our latest hail signatures now down to just under an inch there in northern Bradford County, so that's some good news. But still, with the wind mixing in to some degree, it's still not something you want to be out in there if you can help it. So again, Roy watching things right now. You see Highland, you see Lodi, you see Rayford there. A lot of lightning around, heavy downpours there in our coverage area. So again, this box here is orange because of the considerable threat here of damage, considerable threat of damage here across parts of our area as we try to keep you, your friends, and your family safe and informed. You can hear our computers just working to the max right now, but it's all about protecting you, your friends, and your family here. So again, here's the rain now coming down too. I don't know much right on cue there. Get the computer's working to the max, and then you get the rain. So let's go ahead and pop up our cameras here. We'll go ahead and pop up our cameras here in just a second. Let me just continue to give you guys the very latest on what's going on here. We're going to go ahead and jump away from our radar shots and show you that we're just starting to get into some of that precipitation now. You can see it's kind of tilted there more to the north side because the left side of that points almost a little more south or west-southwest than your west, and you kind of almost a little more west-northwest there to the right side of the side if you want to think about it like that. More is again a little more tilted to the south in some ways in terms of if you wanted to think of the center of this, but still, my point being, you can definitely see some of the darker clouds there on the view. So again, that's what we're dealing with right now, the severe thunderstorm situation as we protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. So again, we're just trying to effort all the latest details of what's going on here right now. It's so important to be on in these type of scenarios here. We just don't want you guys to lay your guard down here as we're watching things, for sure. So again, let me see what I have here. We're trying to punch up all of our different computer systems. You can hear me working here in the Weather Center to give you guys the very latest on what's going on here. So let me see what we have. I don't see any new information in at this moment, but let's go ahead and jump back over. Let's go ahead and jump back on over here to our analyst computer. We'll go ahead and see you guys what's going on there. You can see areas there on Hugh. Getting into some of the strongest wind. Hearing some rumbles of thunder again. Let's make sure the winds aren't going around anything too significantly there. Let's just keep an eye on our camera. There's a lot of cloud movement here, at least I know. We're looking at some of our different monitors to try to get a gauge on this, and you can definitely see some of that cloud movement out there here on this Tuesday evening here. Interesting weather for sure. There's nastier conditions impacting portions of the coverage area. So again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here in this type of situation. We're just trying to give you all the important details here to keep you guys safe and informed. So again, I'm just watching all of our action there with the storminess in play. Just trying to give you guys a wind of the world because you're not really supposed to be close to that window right now. I think the worst though, again, we're Lodi area there in Stark. I mean, we probably got into some of the worst of it here over the last few moments because you see things don't look quite maybe as nasty as they did just a second ago. So again, I'm just going to keep watching things. Let's go back to our other computer source now. see if there's any update here on our warning. Let me go ahead and see what I might have here. I'm going to go ahead and jump on over. We're jumping between a bunch of computers here. So just bear with me. It's all about protecting you. It's all about protecting your friends. And it's all about protecting your family here. So, again, that's what we're trying to take care of in the Weather Center here right now. We're trying to make sure you guys have everything in your toolkit here based on what I provide you to stay safe. So, again, some nasty weather conditions here across the area right now. You can hear the rain a little bit maybe in my microphone if you listen real carefully. But again, I just continue to jump between our systems. Let's check that wind mode again. You can see around Hugh. It's not as widespread as it was now. That's good. But we're still seeing some gusts over 60 possible there north of Highland. So still around Hugh and Highland and just north of Highland, really. I mean, we're even in southwestern Duval County there. Around, looks like a State Road 228, getting some pretty nasty weather. So again, something to kind of be mindful of here for sure. You can just see here our wind pixels, our velocity mode. At this point, I probably have to extend this warning because of seeing the lingering pixels, unless we really start to see a decay on this pretty soon. I know that's on the edge, but sometimes I know in the Swanee County, it looked like some of the damage reports came on the edge of the storminess here, getting that down to the surface, the wind anyway, the wind energy. As now that's in the northwestern Clay a little bit more prominently. County Road 218 there. Again, I'm looking toward Middleburg next 15 minutes or so. At this point, I don't think we're going to have as much wind damage as what I was looking like a little while ago in Clay County. Hopefully, we're not able to see widespread power blasts or anything like that. But that core wind is really able to find back toward northwest. But still, I mean, it's enough to knock out some power for sure. Don't let your guard down. There's still some pixels to severe limits in here, which is 60 miles an hour, 58 miles an hour. I'm seeing 59 miles an hour right now. So, again, just continuing to watch things here in northern Clay County. Again, where it's going to go ahead and zoom back on out. Zoom back on out here. You see how toward Hampton it's just some rain. I mean, we're hearing a little bit of thunder, but overall, not too big of an impact now toward Hampton. Stark's on the edge of this. Kingsley's getting on toward the edge of a little bit more prominent accent. Lodi more into the thick of it. Highland, they're probably about the worst of it. They're right around your area. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So, again, trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. I'm going to go up and tilt a little. Just want to see what our wind mode's showing. So, again, we're just going to go ahead and continue to watch things here. I'm just going to go ahead and monitor things. They're going to go with a new warning here. They're just still too concerned, as you can kind of expect here based on what we saw earlier on. And there's still enough of a signature left. They're going to see a new severe thunderstorm warning the coast through eastern Duval, south of downtown into northern St. Johns County, all the way through areas like St. Augustine, for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible and large hail. They just don't want to take any chances here in this type of setup. That's according to Kip Brooker there at the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. So again, that's about to come on out here on our screen. As you see here, again, looking at some of the blues here. They're not as widespread, but it could be that do with the angle a little bit on the radar here. It might be obscuring things some, but I do think there's probably some weakening taking place, but still enough for a considerable threat if they go to 70 on the winds again, or the hail's up to 1.75. So they're just storm. See the light in Lodi's getting hit pretty hard. Middleburg, there's the neighborhood west side of town now starting to get hit. Some of the worst of the wind back toward the west a little bit though. Again, I'll continuing to track this. Let's go ahead and take off the temperatures for our wind information on. There's not a lot of anemometers necessarily thrown up in that area here where we have the warning. Eventually there would be some reports maybe towards St. Augustine, but that would take a little while here. In this type of setup as I look here on my stations. I mean, you do have some towards Cecil there, but they're kind of on the edge of this, so maybe get a little bit tricky, but to get a good estimate, good reading as it's in, it would be a visual reading. But again, let's just go ahead and continue to watch things here. So you're going to see a new warning now towards St. Augustine with this threat. So again, that's about to come down from the National Weather Service in Jacksonville here. With this potential for some nasty weather conditions. Again, I'll track it from the leading edge here. I mean, this is moving, I mean, the speed's been kind of a little bit shaky here, but This one may go for a little while, but I think that speed there might be a little slow because it seems like it's moving a little bit faster than what the track is showing us. They're going still considerable for the wind. They're going to 830 though. They're 830 for parts of Clay, Duval, St. Johns counties here with this storm in it. So, I mean, that could still keep us here for a while. I mean, though, now we're probably more out here than right where this is showing. And you got to keep in mind even the back edge here. I mean, so it's moving a little bit too slow still with that. But again, so let's go ahead and go to our other source here. This is going to be your considerable polygon now through about 8:30. So let me go ahead and see what we have here. Just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center, trying to protect you, your friends, and your family. So let me go ahead and update you guys on this warning now. I'll go ahead and read you the text of the warning. I know they're saying this is a dangerous situation. This storm is producing widespread wind damage across the southern Jacksonville metro. So seek shelter now inside a sturdy structure and stay away from windows. That's at least in the text of the warning here. Large hail and damaging winds, along with continuous cloudy ground lightning, occurring with this storm. So move indoors immediately. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. If you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So we're talking about a severe thunderstorm. They're saying some of the worst of this could be starting now. Here in terms of the overall geographic axis, get closer where Dr. Dunlap or Middleburg, really, in terms of the bigger areas. Beneath at 40 now, though, 71-hour wind gust and half-dollar size hail. So again, St. John's, Clay, and southern Duval now until about 8:30 with this new threat that pushes on off here toward the east. So again, just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center, trying to keep you guys safe and informed. So far, Baker County now 525 customers in the dark. Bradford County, none of the latest update, but it could be running behind a little Union, 60 customers. So these aren't overwhelming numbers. We're just going to have to continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. We provide you guys the latest here for these type of situations as they arise. So again, we're just going to keep looking at things, keep giving you guys up-to-date details on what's happening. I know we're just continuing to give you guys everything you need to know here in this type of situation. So again, I'm offering all my different sources right now if you're wondering again what I might be doing here behind the scenes. So again, that's what it's all about here at Cloud Weather, trying to get everything together here from our different sources here to keep you guys safe. So again, just bear with me here. I'm trying to give you guys more updates on what's going on here. We're just going to check some more sources here to know exactly what's going on here. So, again, it's just a one-man band, but it's all about protecting you, your friends, and your family. So, again, the latest update, technically Bradford's not in the warning anymore, but there's still a lot of dangerous lightning here from just north of Stark especially, up through Laudy there. But you see, as we get over to Ward, it looks like Clay County now, some pretty nasty weather. St. John's, Clay, and southern Duval until about 8:30, moving east at 40 miles an hour, 71-hour gust, and half-dollar size hail. As we're watching some of our threats here, Roy. So let's go ahead. I know you have that lightning in there as well. Let's go ahead and jump back on over here. You can see moving toward Orange Park here, that track's a little bit more accurate in terms of the speed. It looks like now, once the warning speed got updated here a bit, so we're tracking areas there on County Road 218, moving to the lakeside, Dr. Dunlap area, Fruit Cove, Hilton. You kind of get the idea here. You kind of get the idea of what we're dealing with as we're tracking things in the Weather Center with some of the strongest winds at this point. I know St. Augustine's under the warning, but it would look like here, based on this latest updated assessment, that the worst would probably miss St. Augustine, but we'll just continue to watch things just in case. So again, you can see here, moving toward Lakeside, Orange Park there. That's where some of the worst of this, according to this, would go. And Middleburg still getting a lot of lighting, probably some hail mixing in there. I mean, let's take a look at our hail product, correlation coefficient, which, I mean, you can see where it was. Let me back this up so you can see it back here, and it kind of is still there some, but it's kind of faded. So I'm maybe not seeing that as much now in Clay County, but we'll just have to continue to watch things. They're still saying it could be up to 1.25 inches. Maybe just the worst of the storminess is kind of make it a little harder to see, but it's probably dropped down some, as indicated from going from 1.75 inches in diameter to 1.25 inches in diameter. So again, just continuing watching. I know, by the way, on a national level here, there's a moderate risk of severe weather out toward parts of Oklahoma, which is a big story there. I'm also trying to get some cameras up here, so bear with me from that aspect too, from that standpoint. I know situation here. Let me go ahead and see you real quick that 4 to 5 risk. We don't get that too often, but it's in an area that's not as populated, but it goes there. A little bit in Oklahoma, but even not just northern areas of Oklahoma, but southern areas of Kansas, Medicine Lodge. That community there, Dodge City, right on the edge. So could have, it depends on how that's set up. It may set up south a little, but that could be a quarter of some really nasty damage and winds. So something to watch here. Back to our local view though right now. Let me go ahead and continue to give you guys the very latest. I know I'm going to try to pull up some Florida 501 cameras. You see how this is just really a renegade here in nature, not seeing other storms really evolving on us. That's just sometimes a pattern in nature of things here. You don't see other areas become really threatened by this storminess, but a different story here. We're part of the First Coast region tonight, so part of North Florida, the First Coast region. So bear with me here as I'm trying to get some cameras up. We have those different roadways there in Clay County. We can kind of look. Okay, we're being told now. This is interesting. So, okay, Green Cove Springs. So let's see what's going on there. We're getting some reporting. I want to check our radar before I go with this here. Let's just see what's going on. So it doesn't really look like a whole bunch on radar, but down that way, but it could still be with the lightning. There's numerous trees down and power fluctuations toward Green Cove Springs. The geography is a little tricky out here sometimes, the addresses. So maybe it's a little bit further to the north. Maybe it's more up in here. That would make more sense on that leading edge and down here. So again, this is ham radio operator, amateur radio reporting numerous trees down and power fluctuations there toward areas of Green Cove Springs. So let me check here, just an address on this. Let me just kind of try to give you guys the latest on what's going on. So that may be closer to Asbury Lake then, based on the geography I'm looking at. And yeah, the Green Cove Springs is kind of tricky here. So again, because you can kind of call more stuff Green Cove or a different name than what it actually maybe would show up on our map as. But again, a nasty situation here right now. So checking some cameras, since this stuff's a little bit more hard to pinpoint in some way, that might be a little harder to get us a good visual on some of this. But I think I might have, this is still going to be live. Oh, this cloud cover is really a good visual. So let's go ahead and pop this off. This is going to be, this is the south side of Jacksonville, toward I-295 west at Collins Road. So let's go ahead and pop this up right now. So yeah, there's a shot. That's pretty dramatic there. My Florida 501 perspective, I-295 west at Collins Road. Not too many people on the road right now, but that's a pretty dramatic camera shot of what's going on. So again, giving you guys that visual right now of what is happening here across our area. So I'm just trying to let you guys know how things look out there. I mean, it's not really the greatest type of situation weather-wise. So here's some thunder where we're at still, but let's go ahead and pop away from this. I'm going to go ahead and look here at some more of our maps. Trying to give you guys the latest here. I know, I'm just going to check to see what other cameras are available. Bear with me here. We're just trying to give you guys the latest on the situation that's kind of escalated here on us on this Tuesday evening. So again, just trying to let you guys know exactly what is happening here, what is going on these type of situations. We're just going to check some more camera shots. I know some of these ones on that newer roadway, State Road 23 there, it's not, I mean, they're not saying a whole bunch. It depends because of wind pixels here. A lot of different spot. I mean, I can pop this one up real quick, but it's not the greatest sight here that you've ever seen. But there's one of them there towards State Road 23 in Clay County. Just give you a look at it for a second. keep our eyes on things like that. But let's go back to the radar while I look for some more cameras. Again, let's see what we might have. And now, geography of this might get us more. Let's see, look toward Landon Boulevard. I know we don't have a lot of cameras in some of these spots, but that camera shot was good of the overall sky. So let's see. Maybe another one good here. This is kind of interesting. You can kind of see here. This is really shaking to the north too. So let's pop this one up. This is just to the north of some of it, but look how dark this shot is. And then look at that little, you can see there the storminess getting down to the surface on that shot there as we're looking in the distance. That's a pretty impressive shot right now in that Florida 5-1 perspective. There you can kind of see, I mean, even the sun may be trying to mix in with that. It's hard to tell for sure, but that's what it kind of looks like. You see how dark the roadway is, though. The storminess may be right over them on this camera shot then to be able to kind of reduce the, I mean, it's probably a little bit lighter than this on the actual road, but still lighter, kind of reduce the overall visibility there some. So a pretty dramatic shot. So again, trying to give you guys the very latest right now out of parts of the area. This is again I-285 west north of Plan and getting a little north of some of this here and east of some of this, but again, trying to give you guys the very latest. We're just trying to give you guys a heads up on things. Bear with me as I try to pop everything up that I need to protect everybody out there. I mean, some of these cameras aren't in the greatest shots for the wind, but they're in some really interesting shots for the clouds and the storminess here in general. So again, it's definitely seeing how some of this impact's coming on down toward the surface and spots. So that's something to kind of keep our eyes on here. In this type of setup. I mean, we're just trying to make sure you guys have the latest to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. So again, here more of that thunder. Seeing more of the storminess here. Another dramatic side. It's going to be from the area there in Duval County. So I-295 west north of US 17. I say Duval County is right there on that line, but you kind of get the idea here of what I'm talking about. It's right there. I mean, you're kind of right on that Clay Duval line, but as we're looking at things. But let's go ahead and pop to it. And see what's going on there real quick with that viewpoint. Again, these are some pretty nasty clouds here. You can see how stuff is just overall evolving on us here in this type of setup. So again, let's go ahead and jump back on over though. We continue to watch things, continue to give you guys the latest on what's happening here. Again, just continuing to give you guys a heads up here on the details. The storminess here. Look at that around Middleburg now. It looks like a pretty little nasty area. Not a good thing, but getting some, that might be, yikes, I don't like what I'm seeing around Middleburg. Probably going to get some damaging weather around Middleburg, whether that's in the form of hail, a downburst, or just some really just kind of damaging weather, because that signature shows something there. Probably some hail. Hopefully that's hail, because hopefully it's not indicative of any type of wind damage that's occurring in any fashion, whether it's straight line or otherwise. But again, you can see here, that's probably hail is what I would think at this point. That made the most sense here, kind of coming into play. So again, something that's pretty nasty around Middleburg right now. Yeah, it looks like it was some kind of a hail core there. So that probably made most sense. Could be some wind damage there. Well, in toward that area, moving toward Asbury Lake. So they've already had some reports that in that area we talked about. So they're probably going to have quite a few power outages in Clay County. Let me check the Clay Electric grid then. Let's do that, because remember, we get a pretty good real-time look at that on other source. So let's go ahead and check our Clay Electric power outage map here. So let's go ahead and try to give you guys. So we have 872 customers out on Clay Electric so far in Clay County. So in Bradford, none on that grid, but in Clay County, already 872. So that's kind of a storyline there. About 1,400 in the area total on their system. 154 in Alachua, which is kind of interesting because that may be something to do with the heat. But 86 in Baker, 33 in Columbia. So about 872 in Clay. So we're going to get another update here from the chat session. So let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. The leading edge of the storm now making it to the St. Johns River, and will continue toward Mandarin and the Fruit Cove areas just west of I-95 in northern St. Johns County the southern Duval County area and south of downtown over the next 5 to 10 minutes with the storm accent still maintaining itself. So, again, watching some pretty nasty activity here. Again, checking all of our different metrics if you're wondering what I'm going between. So this is your radar. It's conventional radar view. You can see the greens and the reds here, indicative of some wind enhancement to the surface. Middleburg, Goddard Inlet, Russell, and then this shows here maybe a little bit of hail mixing in a correlation coefficient. So, no, it's actually still raining here and the sun's coming out where we're at. But again, kind of interesting to see that. But I'm on the back end of this here, this point for sure. In this dark area. But again, let's just continue to watch things. Give you a broad perspective. Just give you a broad perspective on this situation. Now you can see temperatures, some spots in the 90s still. I mean, just trying to give you guys the very latest on what's going on here in these type of setups. So let me just kind of see exactly what is happening here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out. And you can see here, Mississippi is 500 watts there. It's maximum North Jackson, Mississippi. But then you have a more substantial wind threat here as we get toward parts of, it looks like Kansas, Oklahoma, but even the northern Texas panhandle here, getting some pretty wicked weather. It looks like we have some destructive severe thunderstorm warning now, meaning winds to 80 miles an hour not out of the question toward parts of it looks like Beaver County in the Panhandle of Oklahoma, Texas County in the Panhandle of Oklahoma, ironically, Cimarron County in the Panhandle of Oklahoma, Hansford County in the Panhandle of Texas, and Sherman County in the Panhandle of Texas. So Guymon there, destructive storm threat there. That's if you word Guymon, Oklahoma then, as we kind of look at things in toward this area in that vicinity anyway. And then you can see we have another destructive threat here to zoom back out for areas around Elkhart in Kansas, more than Stevens County. So, nasty situation there. There's a red, though, is a rare, small, moderate risk here for wind. That includes a Sublette there in Kansas. And then also you see Alva, Oklahoma, but then also Medicine Lodge up back into toward Kansas. So something to watch. We'll see if things are displaced a little. This is going to be a tornado warning, by the way, toward Oklahoma now. This is popping up Beaver and Texas County, some rotation there in the Panhandle of Oklahoma now. So possible tornado associated with that and baseball-sized hail. That was 10 miles northeast of Guymon, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So nasty situation there. We'll keep our eyes on it. And a lot of instability on that edge there, and then the STP, some of that more toward the north, but on the edge here we actually have some STP, which is kind of interesting. And you have some supercell composite here around as well. So kind of interesting to see that here in our area today. But sometimes different mechanisms come together in our setups here with boundaries and the like. So again, I just have to continue to watch things here. The new update on that warning just came out. As we continue to watch things here in the Weather Center, I'm going to go ahead and keep on looking here. Keep on looking here at some of our latest details. It's all about protecting you, your friends, and your family. They're still calling this a considerable threat or damage in parts of Clay County, as well as St. John's and Duval. Seeing some of the worst of this between about Plymouth Island and Orange Park there. I'm going east at 30 miles an hour. So 70 mile an hour wind gusts and half dollar-sized hail. St. Augustine, Orange Park, Green Cove Springs, UNF, Mandarin, Fruit Cove, Middleburg, Ponte Vedra Beach, Jacksonville Beach, and Atlantic Beach. So prepare immediately for large hail and damaging winds. People outside to move to a shelter inside a strong building and away from windows. Continuous cloudy ground lighting is occurring with the storm. Move indoors immediately. Light is one of nature's leading killers. So remember, if you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. Torrential rainfall is occurring with a storm may lead to some flash flooding, so do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. So again, St. Augustine, Orange Park, Green Cove Springs, UNF, Mandarin, Fruit Cove, Middleburg, Ponte Vedra Beach, Jackson Beach, and Atlantic Beach here under the threat over the next little bit. Still these warm temperatures out ahead. Mechanism for fuel here. You saw some of the other parameters I showed you a moment ago as well. So again, I'm just going to continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. We're just trying to give you guys everything you need to know here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So that's what it's all about here at Cloud Weather to keep you guys safe and informed. So again, Just checking all my different sources here. I know we got to 47 miles an hour earlier toward the Swanee Forestry Center in Columbia County there at 649. I measured that site there, so interesting to see that. Definitely interesting to see that there for sure. So we're just gonna continue to watch things here. I'm just trying to make sure you guys know. I'm looking to see if there's any questions right now. I don't see anything here, but we'll just continue to check here for what is going on. So again, I'm just going to keep looking at everything here that I'm getting on in, because it's very important to know exactly the details here, that ground truth and the like, what could be happening toward the surface there across some more areas, some of those backyards here in our area. It's always important. It's always important to kind of get an idea here on what's going on. So let me go ahead and zoom back on over here. You can see parts of Orange Park is showing some hail here right around, it looks like US 17. US 17, there's some hail in toward that area right now in Clay County. So let's go ahead and zoom back over to other mode. Seeing some of that indication there right around US 17 there. All right, in this area, right in there. Could be getting some of that. Let's switch on track on that area then. As you can kind of see it, it's Fruit Cove, storminess here maybe for them. So we're going to get into some of the worst. And then also areas in northern St. Johns County there, around Hilton and Durbin. You saw some of the different spots there popping on up over the next little bit. So again, having to continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. Let me go ahead and zoom back out as we continue to watch the overall situation here in general. Again, this doesn't look on this system, but it's on an orange on our other system because it's a considerable severe thunderstorm threat. The damage threat is considerable in nature here, a little bit more escalated than normal. Not that everybody's going to get in anything too overwhelming here, but definitely considerable for some of these folks here from these backyards. So again, let's go ahead and continue to watch things. I'm going to keep checking my updates here and see what we have in terms of power outage numbers. We've actually seen some numbers really go up on us now. The latest assessment from PowerOutage.us, and I haven't even checked at Clay, numbers that could even be higher now. But so we actually do have, it looks like, a number of customers in the dark here in our counties. So Clay County now leading things at 3,555 customers in the dark. Baker County, 1,220 customers. Bradford County has 513 customers in the dark. I would assume that's the northern part of the county. I'll have to try to figure that out. Union, 67. Columbia, 587. Swanee, 226. Hamilton, 92, but none in Madison. So, again, just kind of seeing our storyline there. So that's all in FP&L. None on Clay Electric and Bradford anyway, but for Clay County, that's a different story. The number keeps going up in Clay now. 3,792 customers in the dark on the Clay County grid, Clay Electric grid, that is, for Clay County. So, again, just continuing to watch things, trying to let you guys know what's going on. There are like 4,000 customers in the dark without electricity now in Clay County. So, again, some pretty nasty weather moving through. So I kind of gave you that heads up to charge the device earlier on. Not everybody going to lose power or winds. I mean, not quite as nasty as they look like earlier on our scans, but it's still pretty nasty. And they're still causing some damage. They're still going to have that threat until they get off the coast here. This accent here, this area. I mean, you can almost call it multiple storms or one storm. They're calling it one. I mean, I kind of agree. A renegade storm here at this point in time. So again, I just have to continue to track things here. In the Weather Center, continue to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family here. So that's why we're sticking on with it, because so many people are being impacted. You see Stark now. I'm looking outside per se, and I'm seeing a picture where we're seeing the sun try to come on out. So kind of interesting here, for sure. That's how it can be in these setups sometimes. I know we had that view all day. And this storm accent here toward the east is really taking advantage of that and producing damaging winds and damaging conditions toward the surface. So, again, I just having to stick with it right now to protect you, your friends, and your family. At least you see our storm tracks here, and I'll do it from maybe a little bit further back. Let me do it from a little further back here. I mean, within here, probably about 45 minutes, it's to be off the coast. At 8:30, I would think it'd be when they wouldn't reissue anything, and then we'd be able to kind of wrap up our coverage from there. So just kind of an early scheduling type of update there. We're still planning on doing our formal update later tonight. We still have enough time between that and our update here late tonight. So again, I'll be talking about the heat here. That'll be on for sure. So again, I'll be talking about that here in terms of those warm temperatures. They're not going to be, maybe in some ways, you're going to have some dry air mixing in maybe later week, and that can lead to a situation where we don't have as high of heat index values, which is some good news, obviously, but just have to continue to watch things here in the weather center. So I know we have the thunderstorm outlook here for today. Tomorrow, southern Georgia doesn't have a thunderstorm outlook, but most of northern Florida does. And then as we get out toward that Thursday, though, then it's about a little bit southern Georgia under the thunderstorm outlook, not as much in anybody in northern Florida. So that's kind of interesting to see here on our different sources that we have at our disposal here. So some of the worst of this now in terms of lightning, at least, is crossing the St. Johns River here. The St. Johns River. So again, continuing to give you guys the very latest, or just continuing to give you guys the latest. One thing that is kind of indicative here of some of the nastier storminess here, you can kind of see we go from no rain, really, to just a heavy rain real quick. It's that really well-defined change here, and the overall reflectivity pattern that can really help be a sign that the wind energy is getting down to the surface. So gotta keep that in mind. Go ahead and zoom back out here a little bit. Go ahead and zoom back out. You can see winds there showing up right around State Road 13. Pretty strong. Some of these numbers aren't showing up as high as they did earlier, but since we're getting on these reports of power outages and the angle and radar, sometimes when you have a certain angle, it kind of messes with things some. I'm not totally convinced that these winds aren't reaching here. So that's why we got to still be kind of concerned here. Some of these areas. Let me take our Moody's side. I want to see what it's showing because they give us a different angle on this. I know it's a lot higher up, but it would at least give me a different angle on this to see. I suspect we're still getting some pretty nasty velocity scans. So, yeah, we are. That's what I thought we'd probably see. Maybe not quite as high as I thought it would go, but still pretty strong. 40s, 50s here showing up on this mode. And then I know we just got a gust of 46 miles an hour at the NOS station on the Buckman Bridge on I-295 about 10 minutes ago. So kind of depends on where you're at. Some of the worst of this be the south there, obviously, as we've talked about. So, I mean, it didn't only take 60 mile an hour winds here, or 70, to cause the power outages and the damage here, especially if we had a storm go through some of these areas here. It is widespread in a while. So something to kind of keep in mind here for sure. We're just going to keep checking things. And let's check that Clay Electric map again, because I feel like that number might just keep going up and going up on us here for a little longer until the crews can get out there to restore the power. So let's see here. This number just updated. Oh, yeah, we just got a new update. About 5,685 customers in the dark now in Clay County. So I see a lot of folks got electricity. I mean, it's only 6.42%, but still, I mean, over 5,500 customers in one county that electricity now from these storms. So again, that's a lot of folks who have lost electricity in Clay County. Northern Clay is where that's setting up here within the mapping, at least from Clay Electric, but their outages. Again, this is from Clay Electric. I'm not checking the other groups yet with this, because this is, covering a lot of folks there in Clay County. 5,685 customers in the dark right now in Clay County in our area. So again, kind of interesting to keep tabs on as we try to give you guys the latest, give you guys the very latest here on this weather situation that's continuing to evolve. So again, really seeing Clay County hit hard by power outages tonight, indicative of some wind damage. I mean, you're going to have trees down in some neighborhoods. You can have trees here, I mean, hopefully not on a home, but not out of the question. You can have trees there. I mean, just having an impact here, and then limbs even having an impact there. And you kind of even just power lines, I guess, in some of these instances could just get blown down here in a few spots. So just think of the different impacts here, because something had to happen down toward the surface to get that many power outages. Wind damage here, damaging storm, damaging accident, renegade accident here moving through Clay County. They just gave us an update here in the chat. It's about, there you go, update on the screen. They're still saying 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible, and now quarter size here through 8:30. Some of the worst of this near Fruit Cove. So when he's at 35 miles an hour, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter size hail. St. Augustine, Orange Park, Green Cove Springs, UNF, Mandarin, Fruit Cove, Ponte Vedra Beach, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, and Neptune Beach. So again, it's really holding together here. This renegade storm again, continuing to knock out power. And number probably go up a little more in Clay and then probably start to fall down once they start to get the crews out there. That's just kind of a guess. Let me see. Probably about to get another update here in just a few moments. Probably about time to get another update in. And yeah, 6,220 customers now in the dark in Clay County. So we've surpassed the 6,000 mark in terms of folks with that electricity there right now in the Clay Electric coverage area there. I mean, you got to factor any other power company. There could be a few more folks in the dark if you add those together, but at least in Clay Electric, over 6,000 customers have lost power now in Clay County. Not in Bradford on the Clay Electric grid, but over 6,000 out in Clay County. So again, gonna have to continue to watch things here in this type of setup. Some of the worst is just leaving Clay County now, so I don't think that number is gonna go up much more. Probably start to steady and then start dropping here once they get the folks out there, because at least it's in a hurricane or a day where we're just getting storm after storm. They can get out there and they'll be able to make the corrections here, the fixes. That'll be good. But you see, actually, interestingly enough, there's not many storms here, but we actually have a little bit of an area in Nassau on Callahan getting going. It's not anywhere close to being strong at this point. But a boundary up there, kind of interesting to see. But again, we're just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. Again, over 6,000 folks got electricity now. Clay Electric customers in Clay County, over 7%, just over 7% without electricity. So again, nothing overwhelming, but for a few spots, it's probably pretty nasty here. Over the last little bit, some of those backyards, some of those neighborhoods here, having some different impacts from this storm here on this Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. So again, just continuing to watch things right now in our different scans. We're just trying to give you guys a heads up on everything that's happening here. Everything that's happening here in our overall environment. Because it's important to do that here. We want to make sure everybody's staying safe in this type of setup. So again, let's just go ahead and continue to watch things here. You can see south of Fruit Cove, some winds over 40, so on up, but those could be a little bit worse down to the surface. I mean, any of these areas here from Fruit Cove all the way to the south, in theory, could have a little pocket of wind damage associated with them all the way, across the St. Johns River area. And then we have St. Augustine. I don't think they're going to get the worst of the weather there. Let's check our scan, but still could have some damage, not out of the question there. Maybe north side of town, be a little more apt for that. But again, 30 more minutes now with this warning. It should be out of our hair. I'll just be back for the rest of the night in terms of having more of a just a hot type of storyline to talk about for tomorrow. I mean, tonight obviously we're cooling down some. We've seen some of the areas cool down back toward the west, but it's still, look at that number at 94 degrees there. That was from an hour ago, so we haven't got a new update in, but GIA in Jacksonville, that's pretty warm. Fernandina 93 at 7:35. These are some warm temperatures causing some problems in some of these different backyards. So again, let's do a storm track on this. This is going to be headed, some of the worst of this maybe is at 6,000, maybe Volano Beach and the Ward to St. Augustine Airport. But again, not going to be downtown St. Augustine, what's considered St. Augustine Beach here in the geography, but still could have some issues. Don't want to be outside on the beach right now in the Wardies areas anywhere along this warning. And I even said pop up there, South Ponte Vedra Beach out ahead. But again, just continuing to watch things, checking weather here to protect you, your friends, and your family here. We're just past 8 o'clock now on this Tuesday. So again, trying to give everybody the latest on what's going on. Just bear with me here as I keep checking all our different sources here at our disposal. So again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. We're in Bradford County if you're wondering where we're at here in north central Florida. So let me go and see our coverage map. We're in Bradford County, but some of the worst has been happening here. Probably we haven't gotten the official reports in yet, but over 6,000 customers in the dark tell me that it's worse weather tonight and today has happened in our area in Clay County. So again, that's not what you want to hear. Obviously, having some impacts here Maybe, I mean, it's possible that many in the dark. We could have some traffic lights that are without power. I mean, do you want to treat those intersections as four-way stops, of course, unless there's somebody, a law enforcement official directing traffic or the like. But again, just continuing to watch here. The situation, again, right now the newest warning that goes to 8:30 includes here the Clay, Duval, and St. Johns counties. So again, that's kind of your storyline right now. Clay, Duval, and St. Johns, and to repeat, over 6,000 customers have lost power in Clay County here on the Clay electric grid. I know in Florida, now over 11,000 on power outages US. They don't have quite as high in Clay because some of their numbers, I know they keep switching a little, not many on FPNL or JAA though, but Baker County over 1,000 in dark, Bradford over 560 customers. I'm curious where those are FPNL, so okay, that number just went down to 63. If you went Clay now, oh, that's Union, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, Bradford, so Bradford FPNL 564. And that gets you a pretty high percentage in Bradford when you have a number like that. So let's just see where they are in Bradford. Probably up in northern Bradford, I would think, and yeah, that's the case. We got some customers in the dark there, southwest of Lodi, west of Lodi, and north of Lodi. So that's an FPNL there. I see some folks out over Kingsley Lake in this vicinity out too, I see. So that's kind of our latest in terms of the power outage numbers here. But again, just continuing to watch things here. Continuing to give you guys the latest updates. Let's go ahead and jump back on over here to our other view. I'm going to keep on checking our details that we have here in the Weather Center. It's all about protecting you. It's all about protecting your friends. And it's all about protecting your family. So, again, let me go ahead and see what we might have. I know we're getting closer to sunset now. We're just past the longest day of the year. That was the middle of last week here. We were looking at that. But, again, let's go ahead and see St. Augustine. You can see that's interesting. Wind pixels showing up now right near the interstate area there. I don't know if that's accurate, but because it's not really located right in our algorithms here. That could just be an anomaly, to be quite honest, because that would seem a little unlikely in terms of something just sticking out like that, where that is on the reflectivity, but could have winds that are to 60, 70 in there. Not out of the question. It was just an anomaly the way it was shown up on radar. But considering right in here now, it seems like so we've seen a little bit maybe decay on the north side of things to some degree, maybe. I mean, I see a little bit of decay. It's not. It's more there's a little bit of southerly push here with this. So that's kind of what we're talking about there. But I'm trying to look at this maybe a little bit, but it's more. It seems like the wind maybe. Yeah, the wind energy seems like it's been kind of maybe pushed down some. But kind of interesting. So maybe a little bit more for St. Augustine then, but that's why you gotta always respect these polygons here. I don't want to just, even though I was talking about Stark earlier, didn't know we were going to get the worst, and we didn't, but you always just got to be careful when you're under a severe thunderstorm, or in the cases of tornado warnings, you got to be careful when you're into those as well. We don't have anything like that in play, but again, just continuing to give you guys the very latest here in this type of setup. For what it's worth, I mean, let me see if I have a southeast view. I might just do it on the fly here, because I want to see something. I mean, really, there's hardly no storms anywhere within a little bit of lightning out in Liberty, but Liberty County in our area, but mostly we don't have much in our whole region. I mean, besides this storm, you have, and there's no lightning in Nassau now. I mean, you have to go. I mean, literally, you have to go to like Southwest Alabama. You have to go hundreds of miles away to really get organized convection outside of this. So, again, it's pretty renegade in nature here for sure. It's able to pop on us here. Really nasty weather here impacting our area on this Tuesday evening. So you see no formal risk of severe weather, just a thunderstorm risk in play. And then let's check the cloud tops here. You can see some of the colder cloud tops. And that instability there, you see all the instability we have. As the sun goes down, we want to see maybe a little more invisible. You can see some of that. That's kind of interesting. And the water vapor shows some of that moisture there in the upper levels. And then the dew point values to the moisture in the lower levels. So again, kind of trying to give you a different look at things here. It's been on for a really long time now, about an hour and a half. As they're giving us an update now, saying the storm will be slightly weakening, just a little bit. Still pretty nasty, but approaching Wargoff Village now in the Nocatee areas. So again, some nasty weather here as we're looking toward part of our areas. Again, let me see what else we might have. Let's go back on over here. You can see here as we're looking at our Doppler scans. Been with you for a good while now, but it's all about keeping you guys safe, giving you that knowledge here, giving you that up-to-date information. On Facebook there, Casey Cloud X, Facebook Cloud Weather. You have Twitter at Cloud Casey, you have YouTube at Cloud Weather, and you have Twitch at Cloud Weather. So newcloudweather.com. You have the interactive radar on that as well, the radar tab, and you have all the links there, at least one for each for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch on the homepage there of clutterther.com. You even have some warning information, the automatic alerts coming on out on the sidebar there from the Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and even Tampa Weather Service areas. Change that up a little bit there on that website. So, okay, we're being told now that they think this storm actually is starting to get a little bit stronger now up toward Nassau County. I don't see a lot on it, but they are saying now that they're just issued a significant weather advisory at about 8:30 on there. So let's see what we're getting with this. I mean, you had a boundary in that vicinity kind of impacting things, and now at least getting closer to the airport. So that could be a little bit of an issue here. I don't want folks caught off guard at the airport, obviously. I mean, they're always watching, always tracking, but just looking toward the airport here, could be seeing some stuff around Ratliff and Callahan. Maybe start to get some lightning formation. Not really seeing that yet, but the winds here looks like we're getting 30-mile-an-hour wind, maybe 40. I guess if you really look, but there's not really any lightning up there, so that's the good news. But hopefully I didn't get anything too stronger. We're near sunset, so that should help us and sit and it's pretty close to the coast anyway. So hopefully we don't get no type of warning on that. But we'll watch it. Get back down. You saw we had echo tops. I'll put this up. Look how tall some of these storms are getting. GDR still showing some upscale growth here in this axis. So again, just continuing to watch things. Give you guys the updates. So they've now dropped the warning down to 0.88 inches on the hail, so that's under severe. But then the wind's still at 60 to keep it a warm storm area. And they've canceled out Clay, but they're continuing it for Duval and St. John's now. So heading in the right direction here, but not over yet. So at about 8:08, a severe thunderstorm was located near Durban, or 11 miles east of Fruit Cove, moving east at 40 miles an hour. So St. Augustine, Mandarin, Fruit Cove, Ponte Vedra Beach, Jacksonville Beach, Neptune Beach, Ord Golf Village, St. Augustine Beach, Sawgrass, and Nocatee here under this threat. So just prepare immediately for some large hail and damaging winds. People outside should move to a shelter. Now it's summertime. People are trying to enjoy things here at the beach. Well, it's the time to be there. If you're in this warned area, if you hear thunder or rumble anytime of year, but especially this time of year, things can happen really quick. Continuous cloudy ground lightning is occurring with the storm moving indoors immediately. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. Torrential rainfall is occurring with the storm and may lead to some flash flooding in isolated areas, so do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. So, again, that's just some information from the Weather Service there. As we continue to watch things, I'm going to see our Clay Electric outage map again, I think. Let me see what we might be dealing with their numbers that they're telling us about here right now. So Clay Electric now, they have gone up even a little bit more, so maybe just some residual effect, and we're not quite reporting in. Right when it happened, 7,559 customers now in the dark. That's about 8.5% of the Clay Electric, Clay County customers in the dark now from the storm, and it's 8.54%, 7,559 customers in the dark there in Clay County without electricity after the storm moved on through. So, again, that's kind of your storyline there. Let me go ahead and see what we have. I know Florida added his numbers here. I know Baker, some added, not many of them, Duval or St. John's. Few in Bradford and FPNL and Northern Bradford here around Lowry and the like. But again, I just continue to watch things here. Having to stick with it to protect you, your friends, and your family. We're just continuing to watch things here on this Tuesday evening. Looks like some stronger wind surge getting closer to St. Augustine Airport. On my pixels, it's showing winds to about 40 miles an hour. We'll see what the sensor says here soon. Last check wasn't showing too much, but 88 degrees, so still some energy, but not as warm as temperatures we had some spots earlier on. So maybe helping to mitigate the threats a little. There's your advisory toward GIA, gust to about 40 with the strong thunderstorm, but there's not really much lightning showing up with this, so that's the good news. Maybe more strong sour here at this point, I would almost call it, but easier just to use the text since it might get a lightning strike real quick. Again, continuing to watch things. Always a chance. We had one in there a little while ago I didn't see, but again, continuing to watch things. Let me zoom back out. I know we have some storylines nationally to cover real quick. There's a moderate risk of 4 to 5 severe weather risk is fully confined now toward parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. It looks like some of the worst here, kind of riding on the edge of the southern flank of that for now. I haven't dug too deep into that here. And toward the area, I switch from dew point to temperature, but because we've been focusing on our local weather, some different things here, but there's a lot of instability, and you're right on the edge of the STP values. So definitely not much of a tornado risk, but a wind risk that's at 45%, which gets you a moderate risk here. You don't get that very often. Maybe it shifts around a little bit here, but we'll continue to watch that. Let's go back to our local weather. We're getting an update now. We're being told now to Baker County, Glen St. Mary there in Baker County, thunderstorm wind damage occurred in that area 1 mile northwest, at least at 6:50. Trees and power lines were down. So again, some nasty weather conditions here in that regard. So again, just have to be kind of mindful here. See how much rain we've gotten over the last hour. So you can see in this blue area there, northern Bradford, about 1 inch. Parts of Clay County, close to 1 inch there. Looking, you can see the last 12 hours, similar story. Lake City says about 1 inch. South of Live Oak, about 1 inch there. So pretty similar amounts here on this little path. I mean, it's hidden like a tornadic situation, but in some ways, it's just one little path here of storminess. Kind of reminds you of like a renegade supercell in the Midwest is producing a tornado. This is not producing tornadic weather, but severe weather is just to be able to get one to be by itself like this and not really get much else to develop. Kind of unusual around here, but the pattern kind of promoted that with certain levels of parameters, not enough to get widespread coverage, but heat energy stuff just able to kind of break through there and get going enough to be problematic. So I'm going to check my rain gauge here real quick. So I'm going to look away from the camera so you might hear my voice kind of trail off for a second. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. We didn't get much rain here at all, only about 1/10 of an inch. So not too significant here today. Just kind of double checking to make sure because it almost is like 0, but I think that's 0.08 there. So again, that's kind of your storyline there where we're at. I'll check our numbers on here. I think it's going to kind of verify that. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's about what it sounded like here. Not too much rain where we're at, but in parts of Bradford there around Highland, about 1 inch of rain, already about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch here, and it was pretty heavy when it was coming down. It's pretty quick moving, but again, that's kind of your storyline there. Again, continuing to watch things. This definitely looks like it's a little bit weaker, but it's still in some areas that are impacted that are normal populated. So until they drop this warning or get close at least to having this go, I probably want to stick with it a little longer here, just in case, because this has had a history of producing a lot of damage in certain areas. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. We're just getting into casing now. You can't really see it very good, but strong thunderstorm way out in the panhandle. Hopefully that didn't hold together, but that was like toward Washington County, way out west of our area, but we'll watch it for western counties later. I know there's some lightning in Liberty County that was showing up on our maps just west of Tallahassee in our area there by a little ways. And then you can see south of Sawgrass right now. South of Sawgrass there, getting into some nastier lightning. You see South Ponte Vedra Beach. You see right around St. Augustine Airport, Volano Beach. I'm going to be out, obviously, on Volano Beach right now at this type of weather in your vicinity. So there could be some lightning headed your way whenever thunder roars. Go indoors in these type of situations. So again, another report out of Baker County of multiple trees down. We saw that area. It looked like widespread damage is being produced there in that southeast Baker region. And another report now, not just the trees and power lines down 1 mile northwest of Glen St. Mary, but now 3 miles south of Glen St. Mary. Multiple trees were down about 650 as well. So again, that's indicating there. Maybe it wasn't right over McClenny, the worst of it, not knocking out as much power, but causing some problems in that area. One in the Clay County, they're over more population density, maybe not quite as strong, but still knocked out over 7,000 customers there, knocking their electricity out. So again, not what you want to hear, obviously, impacting some of those two-state plans. So again, let's go ahead and see what we have here in the Weather Center right now. They're trying to give you the latest outage numbers. Hopefully your electricity comes back on there in Clay County. 7,605 customers in the dark right now in Clay County here. And then just looking 18,000 or so out in the state. A lot of them in Clay. few, a little over 1,000 in Baker. St. John's now we're 2,400 pretty quick. So even if it doesn't look as strong on radar sometimes, you just kind of have to stick with it here because with all the damage history, it's promoted, and they're keeping this warning, and it's updated it now at 8:16. Severe thunderstorm located over South Ponte Vedra, 10 miles north of St. Augustine. Moving east at 40, so St. Augustine, Fruit Cove, Wargop Village, St. Augustine Beach, Sawgrass, Nocatee, Durbin, Volano Beach, Piccolata, and Palm Valley under this. So again, I know we're watching this carefully here. So let's see what, just west of St. Augustine. I'm kind of curious. So right around State 16, let's see if we can get a traffic camera up there. Let's see if we can get a traffic camera up there. It might take me a minute because again, it's a one-man band. But I want to see if we can get a traffic camera in that area because that might be kind of helpful, kind of interesting. So we're looking I-95 there and State Road 16. So just trying to effort some things here. And Weather Center determined as the storm continues a slight weakening trend as it approaches St. Augustine from the north and west and some potential for gusts up to 60 miles an hour. But nickel-sized hail continues to about 30. So I'm going to keep checking here. Bear with me. Okay, I see where we can get some camera shots from. So I'm just trying to make sure I get my geography right here. So assuming real quick. So yeah, some of this here, right? Let's go west of Volano. We don't have cameras right at the coast on the Florida 511s, but we're going to go here. And near the premium outlet, some of the cameras aren't working. So see, it looks like hopefully that's not anybody in the road. Almost like, okay, those are just cones. Okay, the camera's really shaking. Let's take this live. Let's take this live before we lose it because we may lose this camera pretty quick here. Florida 511. So there you go. Maybe as I take it, just calm just a little, but still shaking pretty heavily here. I-95 at 316. Mile marker 317.6 here in the word St. John's County, right near the outlet. So maybe even a little bit of hail mixing in there. It's hard to tell, but nothing really big, but hard to say for sure. But definitely some nasty weather in this area. So again, you can kind of get a visual on things there right now in parts of St. John's County. So again, trying to give you a shot. You see some flashes there, it look like. So hopefully those are just lightning and not power flashes, but you never know in these type of setups if the winds are still as strong as they might have been in Baker. We're just getting obscured some in the radar, but I don't think they are, and we're not really thinking that here at this point. 16th at 70 in the warning, but still could have a few power flashes, I suppose, in this type of setup. So again, we're still watching things. We're still tracking them here as we're looking at some of these different sides. Definitely some nasty weather conditions. Let's go ahead and jump away from that camera for now. See what else we might have. I know one of the cameras in that area is offline. So, okay, and then I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I want to go to. Okay, this is a really nasty view of the clouds here. Really nasty view of the clouds right here at sunset. Not just actual, like, weather on the ground, but a mile marker 311.9 there. I-95, so definitely some wicked clouds there for sure. Wicked skies here. You can see the movement in them as well. So a pretty interesting shot there on I-95 right now, reducing some visibility at least. I mean, obviously it's like a scenario where you're almost at sunset anyway, so you'd have those lights on as if it's pretty much past sunset. So again, kind of a storyline there that's pretty nasty. Got to keep looking at our different views here as needed. That was a Florida 511 perspective as well. Let's break away from those for now since I think we're almost there. I almost have this there where it won't be a threat, but we need to stay on much longer. So you can see around the Volano Beach, St. Augustine Beach there, parts of St. John's County. We're just going to go ahead and keep looking at things, keep giving you guys the latest here. I'm just going to go ahead and keep checking here on this severe thunderstorm situation. Again, let's zoom out. You see that storm there. No real lightning now. I know they're Duval, close to the airport. I mean, that's almost a little bit of a, that last scan there, almost a little bit of a downburst signature. 32 one way and about, well, goodness. Hopefully it's not a sign. We're going to need a warning out there because that almost looks like it could be obscured because we're right at that radar. I'll be curious to see what they give us here at our reporting site, but it almost feels like some pretty nasty wind there close toward the airport, north side of things right now. 31, that's from a few minutes ago though. to watch that there. I mean, these numbers do add up, but it could just be an obscured view. And I'm going up and tilt a little to see. Hard to say for sure, but could be getting some strong winds now. Just north of the airport, right on. I mean, there's probably airport grounds even. Let's see. Yeah, probably is. Some pretty nasty weather there. Again, following the situation to the south here too. Some of the strongest winds. Seems like it's sounding up a little bit better now that it started to get in the coastal waters here off of St. Johns County. Again, you can see St. Augustine here. Getting in some of this nasty weather here at this hour. So St. Augustine Beach, you kind of get the idea. Sawgrass. This stuff's to be off the coast here. The worst of it within the next 10 minutes. Get better than north here. More lightning popping up. Not a lot, but definitely a little wind signature here. Hopefully it's more like 50 instead of 60 here, but hopefully it's less than that. But you get what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and keep watching things. Keep tracking things here. Hopefully we'll wrap this up here soon as we are anticipating. But again, let's go ahead and keep watching things here in the Weather Center. I'm checking some of my different sources right now to give you the latest information to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. So again, let me go ahead and see what's happening. We're just trying to get all of our latest updates here in as they come on out. So just bear with me here. I'm going to type this for a second because I'm trying to get you guys more information here. Get you guys more information here as it does come on out. So again, we're just trying to let you guys know. I'll let you guys know what is going on here. We did get a gust of 44 miles an hour around Orange Park, 4 miles northeast there in Duval County at Jackson AES at around 7:53. So 44 mile an hour gust there, 7:53, Jackson AES. So getting that measured gust, but it didn't take severe wind numbers to cause damage sometimes. I mean, over 8,000, I believe it was. Let me double check. Maybe shifting a little, been on for a while. So I believe that's what we said there a little while ago. And Clay's grid there, maybe it's down by now, or maybe looking a little bit better. Let me see. We're now down to 5,334 customers in the Dark and Clay County. So definitely a reduction in the number of outages there. We're being told now from a National Weather Service employee 3 miles northeast of Durban, dime size hail reported around 8.7. Excuse me. High dime size hail reported around 8:17 there from a National Weather Service employee. So again, that's 3 miles northeast of Durban. Let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. Again, we're live right now on Facebook, Casey Cloud Reacts, Facebook Cloud Weather, Twitter at Cloud Casey, YouTube at Cloud Weather, and Twitch there at Cloud Weather. So, gonna keep watching things, gonna keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. You see South Ponte Vedra Beach, Volcano Beach, St. Augustine, some of the nastiest. We're not getting a wind reading necessarily too high at the last check off of this site. Seeing if it's updating here, and we may get a new update here pretty soon, but we'll continue to look here, continue to give you guys the very latest. Let me go ahead and just continue to watch here. Look up to the north as well. Don't see that signature as well to find now. It may have just been an obscured view right near the airport. Again, this is going to be going off the coast here next few moments. Some of the worst of this, so hopefully we don't get an extension on this warning here. That'd be good news. So let's go ahead and I'll broaden the view back out here. Let's go ahead and broaden the view back out here. You can see what we're doing with in terms of that's just being way by itself. There's a odd strike here of lightning. It's kind of scary. Southern Putnam County, there's no rain unless I'm missing something. Well, I mean, you have these, I guess it's just the cloud cover maybe, because this shows some light accent if I go really. Yeah, I mean, it may just be, that's kind of scary if that's anything. Hopefully it's not a clouded cloud. I mean, hopefully it is clouded cloud. Hopefully it's not a clouded ground. Excuse me. What I mean by that, because this is way away from really much rain. I mean, we're talking about 15 miles away from any rain. So that's kind of scary if that's actually reaching there down toward the surface with any type of lightning. You do not see that very often around here. A lightning strike, I'll bet it's up. You can maybe see, it's starting to run out. It's 50 minutes behind now, but a few minutes back. But Southern Putnam County there, rogue lightning strike. I mean, you don't see that much. That was west of Alaska, it looked like. So just you don't get that very much. It's kind of scary that was cloud to ground because I mean you're not expecting that down there. And that can be really hazardous. So again, let's look up toward the north here on GIS and lightning popping up a few strikes there. A little bit of something in Liberty. It's kind of falling apart. Temperature starting to fall some, so this storminess should be kind of wrapping up soon. Okay, we do got an update now. 43 mile an hour gust, 822 there around the St. Augustine airport. So 43 mile an hour gust there in that area. So that's it probably. I mean, we could still have some damage in here. Not at the question I see our other readings gives us 35. So got a gust of 42 Asbury Lake around 801, a public report of that. So again, we'll just have to continue to watch some of these. This says a little lower, but it's probably the number in the system probably more accurate here at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and keep looking. Over 20,000 customers in Florida without power, but I mean, not all of those in our area, but now we're actually over 6,000 in St. John's. According to Parada.us, we have 6,460 customers in the dark. Some of those on JEA, some of those on FP&L. So, again, that's kind of the storyline there. It just starts to get toward those coastal homes and then off the coast here over the next few moments, which will be some good news for everybody. Some good news for everybody for sure. Again, continuing to watch things here in the weather center. Looks like some of the worst is right there along the coast now. I mean, you know, just north of St. Augustine Beach, maybe, but I mean, Volcano Beach, I mean, get into some of this here. It kind of looks like some of the worst this is right now. South Ponte Vedra Beach, you kind of get the idea. So this will be moving off here soon. They'll probably send out a statement here very soon. They're expiring this out, and then we'll wrap it up here on our live stream. So again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. We're just going to await word here, official word. We're going to have a formal update later tonight, so we need to get ready for that here over the next little bit since this warning should be about to go away. This warning should be about to go away, and we shouldn't see any more issues the rest of the night. Can't completely rule something out, but I'll be watching this in case. And they're just sending out a statement now. They're expiring this to their thunderstorm warning. It goes for another few seconds, but again, watching that threat there, moving off toward the coastal waters. So I don't want to be, obviously, as we're getting toward those nighttime hours, you don't want to be out there on a boat in that special marine warning area right now. I mean, really, in these type of waters, I mean, because talking about a situation where small craft could be damaged and briefly higher wind and suddenly higher waves, large hail could result in some structural damage to that. So they're telling people to move to safe harbor immediately. So again, some nasty weather moving to those coastal waters. That's going to do it for now. Thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. I know there's some destructive weather. The Oklahoma Panhandle, I'm going to be gust 70, 80. Looks like they lowered them here over the last little bit. Tornado warning Beaver, Texas County. That's about to expire. That's some good news, but I mean, at least, I mean, right now it may get extended. Don't get me wrong. Haven't dug into this too much here. It just went off for the time being, though. So that's kind of storyline. The destructive polygon, they downgraded that since that was issued. Nasty weather you see around Perryton, where they had all that destructive tornadic acts and the fatalities. They're going back, getting some nasty winds coming in that area. It looks like maybe 2 inch hail as well. And you see some stuff toward parts of Woodward, Oklahoma, and Alva and Enid. They're going to have to probably issue a watch out there over the next little bit with some significant gusts of 75 plus possible in that vicinity. So, going to have to keep our eyes on that national picture, but the local threat here winding down for now. So that's the good news. That's why we're going to wrap it up. We'll see you guys back here later tonight. For now, I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud from the Weather Center. Again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me.